Sorry, Ryan, I got a bunch of fucking frame glitches there.
Oh, you're good. That was a good little run. Kansas City, Kansas. We welcome you in. Race number 2 of iRacing in the Gen 4 series. My cameramen have had too much drink, apparently. As we get ready to go racing tonight, it is race number 2 here at Kansas of 10 in the Cup Series season, or Gen 4, I should say, for iRacing. We appreciate everybody joining us here this evening. I am the captain. So much to go over here the next couple of minutes. Of course, we get you ready for this fun mile-and-a-half track that focuses on, I should say, the longest straightaways in all the mile-and-a-half tracks in NASCAR is right here at Kansas Speedway. So you're going to see fast speeds going down to turn 1, down to turn 3, not to mention a lot of rim riding up against that wall. You're going to see some cars down in the bottom lane. You're going to see some pit stops. One thing for sure we will let you know now is you're going to see a little bit longer green flag runs likely. We've extended out the gas to 50%. We've taken away a set of tires, though, so strategy really going to come into play now when it comes to when to take the tires and where, and go to the finish of this 85-lap race coming up here tonight at Kansas Speedway. Of course, this track built in 2001 and has been repaved and redone once. It was originally a 12-degree banking track, and since then has actually moved itself up to a 18-degree banking, progressive banked track here in Kansas. So obviously a lot of good that's come out of this track, a lot of great finishes and so on and so forth. And I think we're looking for more here coming up here this evening at the Kansas Speedway. But that's the big one change this week. And it's more of an experiment too. We're still trying to figure out one thing the drivers have talked about is they want longer runs before they come to pit road. There's been races in the past where you've only got about 10 laps and then somebody's on pit road because they need gas or tires or whatever. So they're trying to stretch that out just a little bit per the driver's request, and trying to find that happy balance between running a short distance race with strategy, but also giving them that green flag run at the same time. So, of course, last week at Auto Club, it was Casey Carrington going to victory lane in the opener. You saw that in the video. Tonight, will we see a second winner in 2 races? We'll have to see coming up. Now, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of tomorrow, or I say tomorrow night, but this week's podcast. Of course, the Scalicast that is coming up, episode 2 this week. We'll get it posted, hopefully, if not tonight, by tomorrow night. It'll be there for you. I'm pretty much in the final editing stages of it, but Kyle Ethier is going to be our guest on the episode, and he goes through with me. We actually kind of open up a lot about some of the dramas that's happened here in TI in the past when it comes to teams and stuff like that, and obviously, he's the one that come up with the term the Scalicast. He and his team, the CFT team, came up with the term Scalicast, hence the podcast name and so on and so forth. But one thing he brings up in there, and I'm going to kind of spoil it, is his best friend, Dominic Russo. And I don't mean that sarcastically. These two have grown up together in the Northeast, New England area, and he shared some things about Dominic Russo. Let's go back to last season. that win at Talladega in the Truck Series for Dom Russo. That win he had was on a Microsoft Surface computer with 15 frames per second. Most of our computers operate on like 85 or higher. This guy did it on 15 frames a second and went out there and won a race at Talladega. They said that he could barely see where pit road was. It was that kind of deal for Dominic to go and win that race with a tablet sitting on his bed when he went to victory lane in that race. Not to mention, and this is our driver to get to know, by the way, is Dominic Russo. This one blew me off blew me off guard a little bit when I heard this one. He won a go-kart race against Joey Logano. Now I'm going to stop the story there and bring Dominic Russo up here because he's our driver we're going to focus on here. Dom, I've been kind of spoiling the podcast a little bit with the interview with Kyle last night, and he kind of mentioned how he grew up with you, the story about how you won the race on the tablet last season at Talladega with the 15 frames per second. That's not the important part here. Where I'm going is the race with Joey Logano. So you win a go-kart race with Joey Logano.
Yeah.
Where's the trophy?
I didn't get a trophy. It was just like a promotional event. And so you needed I forget what you had to do. There was just like everyone raced to get into a race with Joey. And you had to run a lap that was something .020, or I don't think you had to win, but it was some weird qualifying thing. And I ran the lap. So I got to race with Joey. He never caught me out there. Never caught me out there. So,
I mean, not even a pat on the back or, hey, man, nice job, or a free Coke or something? I mean,
a Home Depot gift card or something would have been nice.
That had to feel pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And I mean, I was really young at the time. I think now I could give him a real good shot and really rough him up. But back then, I was just going for the win.
So, where was this at, this event?
On Track Karting is here in Wallingford in Connecticut.
Uh-huh.
It's a go-kart track. They got a couple different kinds of carts. I think the adult ones go like 45, and it's
So
like
a go-kart place to have fun.
Oh yeah, it's when you go with your buddies, it's high speed and it's a good time.
I guess where I was wondering, because I know he has that little short track, that like quarter midget track or whatever he just opened back up where he grew up and stuff. I didn't know how close that was to you guys. I forget the name of it off the top of my head.
My mom actually works there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Those kids hum around that little track. It is incredible to watch.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, the track's about the size of a cul-de-sac out in the neighborhood. So, needless to say, man. Well, hey, appreciate your time. Go qualify. I had to get the finish of that story from you. So,
thank you, sir. I'm ready to get a solid 15th place finish tonight. Let's go, baby.
Well, the solid 15. Well, that's good because you're 20th out of 22 cars in practice.
It's tough out there today, Chris. I did not practice, and we're not doing too good, Cap. If I keep the car on all four wheels, it's a good day.
Buddy, hey, that's your goal right there. Keep it out of the wall. Keep it on all four.
Aye, aye, Captain.
All right, buddy. That is... Oh, my gosh. Dominic Russo. So that's different. I thought that there was a trophy involved. But, hey, either way, that's pretty cool. He beat Joey Logano in a race, in a go-kart race in his home area up there in Connecticut. So... very interesting. Listen to that podcast tomorrow night. You'll hear the whole story of Kyle and how him and Dominic meet and stuff like that. Pretty cool deal there. All right, let's go to qualifying now as the cars are on the track here. We'll watch here for a quick minute or so before we get to our national anthem. And speaking of Kyle Ether, let's jump on track with him right now. There he is in the Budweiser number 8. See what kind of laps he can put up here. Let's get you some race audio here. Right now, Carrington to the pole with a 30.27. Ether, a 30.30. Craig Martin there in third. Ryan Whitaker. And Daniel Giroux there in the 5th position. Gagnon jumping up to 6th. You see Melnick. Jake Gibson, who had a very long week last week. 30-25 goes to the pole. Ethier jumps to third. Now, you'll see the numbers over to the right. If they go green, they went faster in the second lap. If they go white, you see Ethier's lap going white right there in the middle, meaning he went slower that time around. So did Craig Martin. Then your original lap. Is Jacob Gibson about to steal the pole? If so, that would be kind of an upset because Carrington was winning poles left and right last season. So, well, we're about to come back and find out here in just a moment. So let's step away for the national anthem here from Kansas Speedway and get you ready for the race as Brandon Alphin jumps to P2 here on the Captain E Sports Network.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, great job there on the national anthem. And as you see up there at the top of the board, he was not touched. In the end, Jacob Gibson going to win the pole after last week was a very interesting week for the GT Racing driver who looks like he's going to score his first pole of his career. Jake, I mean, you were, I hate to put this, under kind of a microscope last week as I think you hit everything but the Kansas lottery last week. And you come back tonight and win this pole with a 26. Great lap on your part, man. That had to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's kind of surprising. I didn't see that coming, so it's pretty cool.
How's the track racing?
It's good. Obviously at nighttime is where all the grip comes out, so kind of looking forward to when it gets darker, so I have a lot more grip. I like to run that high line a little bit, so try to keep it clean while it's still daytime, and hopefully find some grip.
Well, as they say in TI Racing, or at least I'm making up right now as we speak, if you don't like the setting, just wait 5 minutes. It's an old Florida line, by the way, on the weather. So, obviously, man, congratulations. Go lead them to the pole, and maybe we'll talk in Victory Lane in a little bit.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Jacob Gibson, the pole sitter tonight in Kansas. We'll see if he can click his heels and get to Victory Lane here this evening also. But right now we got to get ourselves the starting lineup, and let's do so here at the Kansas Speedway. It's Gibson alongside Brandon Alphin there in row number 1. Casey Carrington, teammate Josh Dillon, or Josh Jin, as we like to say. It's a mixture of Josh and Austin Dillon. It's a joke that Casey obviously gets the credit for. There's our podcast visitor this week, Kyle Ethier, Alex Bryson, who, oh my, if I could find a way to get the video, had the probably most exciting finish I have seen in the last year and a half, off the top of my head on iRacing last Wednesday night. If I get a chance, I'll show it. Randy Cornwell, good start for him on the inside of row 8, or row 4, I should say, and Ty Young there on the outside. Stephen Miles, Daniel Giroux in row number 5. Miles getting ready for his first 24 hours at Daytona coming up here this week on iRacing. Josh Gagnon also going to run that event with Craig Martin. A lot of these guys are going to run that event on different teams and different splits and so on and so forth. Let's show you row number 7. Matt Telder, Ryan Whitaker, Nick Uricchio and Steve Melnick, they're in row number 8. Row 9, Dallas Childers, who led a lap at Daytona. In the truck race at Daytona. Chris Lewis, unfortunately, got into somebody before they got to turn 1 last week at Auto Club. Not a good job by the boss man there. Devin Ramsey, David Fight, there in row 10. Row 11, David Stringle, Aaron Beaver, Sean Lester, Dominic Russo. He said he wants a top 15. Well, he can't really start any worse than where he's at right now. So, just going to put that out there as we come to the green this time by as they roll off pit road. Let's take a look at the race information. It is 85 laps. It is 50% fuel tonight. So roughly about 25 laps or so is what I'm hearing, right around that area for fuel. So if that's the case, you're looking at 3 stops and you got 2 sets of tires. Do the math. You'll figure out there's 1 double stint coming in there somewhere, if not 2. 78 degrees, 51% humidity, partly cloudy skies. The time is moving 8x the speed of time. So what does that mean? Meaning pretty much within about the next 15 minutes, we will go an hour in sim time. So within an hour, basically, we go 8 hours. Something like that. So hope that makes sense. But you're going to see this race go from like the middle of the sun here to nighttime before we know it. As the Reese's Chevrolet and Brandon Alfin's Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram number 21 lead them to the green flag at Kansas. Here we go. Our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. You can check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com. This track is going to spread out. As the Elvis car finds his way to the front. Sean Lester is going to start the race on pit road. He was the 24th starter. As Gibson going to get loose, might not lead lap 1 here in the end. He will as he uses the help of the apron. Oh, I missed the sound of those cars. Oh, Ether getting loose on the apron a little bit there. Good save on his part. There's AB. And Ether still fighting. Nice job by Miles to let it back up. It's kind of checking up a little bit. 79 of Gagnon, 22 of Martin, 28 down there in the bottom. That is one of the newcomers of names I'm still trying to recognize. Ty Young. Daniel Giroux in that DuPont Jeff Gordon colors. Telder there behind him. Tom Baker, appreciate you, sir, for watching tonight. New name to the stream, I believe. Oh, don't get that wall, boys. I should have asked Russo before he graded what rating he was running at, what frames tonight. For those who don't know frames per second, I usually don't show this on the air, but I'm going to show it. Well, I can't show it. Well, yeah, I can. I just need to turn on my UI real quickly here. Frames, over here in the top right, if you're not new to iRacing, look right over here. See that 119 to 130? When you turn off the limit, that's frames per second. That night when Dominic won at Talladega, he was at 15. As you see, I'm at like, what's that, like 15 times more? Yeah, Ty is looking pretty good there in that 28. Randy Cornwell, Telder there, and you see that track spreading out. A lot of cars on the bottom so far. As you see, Carrington has moved up to second, past Alphen. Oh, and into the wall goes Lewis. Bossman, do not be the caution again. See Cornwell there in front of him. Speed's probably up to 195 or so miles an hour. Remember, these are the old Gen 4 cars that you remember from the early 2000s and mid 2000s. That built 950, almost 1,000 horsepower. And we're out there running laps of 30, if not 29 seconds around here. 3 wide off of 3 and 4. Telder had to get out of it as Cornwell about hip checked them, as I don't know if they realized they were 3 wide. Seven laps, green flag so far. I would expect, especially here in the daytime, as these tires wear, that that top side's going to come in, which used to be the way around here like the whole entire time. As Brandon Alphin, the former Louisville Cardinal pitcher, back in the heyday, battling AB there, teammates. AB running the old Bromlets on Ice paint scheme. For those who don't know who they are, they're a lot like us. They do video gaming in simulation like we are here on iRacing, except they do it with actual hockey. Like they actually play a hockey game simulation or whatever with teams, and like it's all actual human players on the team. It's actually very creative. So there's Ethier trying to make a recovery now. He's back up to the 11th position, almost scraping the wall there off of 2. Ryan Whitaker in at 51. He's got the Kevin Whitaker colors on there again, that pink. Got to be very careful with that apron. That apron will get that car loose, especially with the lack of downforce on this car. Bryson around his teammate for 3rd. For you racing fans, I'm gonna throw you a picture of what I'm trying to explain to you with Bryson's finish in the GLSR race Wednesday night. But just picture a car going to the outside at Dover and making a pass at the start-finish line to win a race in a photo finish. It's one of the crazier finishes I've seen in a very long time. Bryson pulled that move off, and it shocked a lot of us. Like, how did he pull that off? Hey, who knows? Magic might strike twice in this race here. Let's check on the Josh and Dylan Jarrett car, if you will. The old Quality Care number 88. Paint scheme won a Daytona 500. Actually, 2 of them. 96 and 2000. And somebody scraping the wall going into the corner. I think that was Alphin. Yeah, you see the scrape marks on Alphin's number 21. Oh, and now he gets the wall real good. As here comes Miles into the corner, and I'm starting to notice we're going to have a battle for the lead here in a minute. Tom and Luke, Mr. Nestor Diaz, hello, sir. Appreciate you guys joining us. If you joined the broadcast so far, make sure you do hit that follow or subscribe button. Be much appreciated. As there he goes, Casey Carrington to the front. He's actually got his number tonight, 37. Got his Jeff Purvis throwback, and caution is out. Devin Ramsey has backed that 9 car into the outside wall. Oh, that's deja vu to 2000 and was it 2006 or 7? Where Casey Kane put the 9 car into the wall like that and then won the Xfinity race earlier or later that day. All right, Devin Ramsey bringing out the caution. Let's see what happens to the 9. Trackhouse Auto Sport car. Look out for Dom. Dom goes fishing for soda or something. They go into the corner. Big checkup to Riccio, and then the look like the 15. Oh, David Fite in that 15 car. They checked up and he got in the back of them. All right, so here we go with the strategies. Remember the little bit longer fuel in the car now. Cars are on pit road. We'll show another view of the replay here in a second. Just want to cover the pit stops here. And Carrington wins the race off pit road. You see Cornwell has stayed out. Sean Lester might not be too thrilled with that. As you see, he would be the waiver round. But actually, you know what? Lester might get the lucky dog. Yes, he did. So Lester's going around Cornwell right now. So Carrington, Bryson, Miles, Gibson, and Alphin, your top 5 out of those on pit road. As the caution comes out here for the first time in this race. We'll recount the full pit stops here in a second. I can tell you who did what, or close to who did what, because it is kind of hard to tell. And I'll explain that whole thing in a second. But, yeah, it looks like just a stack up here. You see Dallas Childers gets a little loose. Eurykio goes digging for gold or something in the bottom. Comes back up the track. Oh, I see now. Causes the big checkup with the 36. And that's actually what ends up being the caution, is the checkup from Dominic Russo. So I'm sure going to be some unhappiness there with that. All right, Carrington did go, or not Carrington, I'm sorry, the 22 of Cornwell did go to pit road and relinquished the lead back to Carrington. Here's where we are with that. It looks like everybody, for the most part, took no tires. I think Chris Lewis got some damage fixed potentially because he is on pit road 18 seconds. Fight for 17, probably got damage fixed. Looks like mostly fuel only for everybody, except for those with damage. Ramsey, a little extra time on pit road, it looks like. Josh Dillon, maybe some damage. 11-second stop. That could be a 2-tire stop. It's hard to tell when somebody doesn't do 4 tires because you have to look very closely at the car to lift up off the ground, as Telder's going to bring his car back to pit road. And let's actually use Telder's car as a we'll use it as a test dummy here for a second. So, for those who are new to iRacing, you know, I always like to kind of educate if possible. I mean, not everybody knows everything. But usually what I have to do is sit here and watch the cars, and as they're sitting on the ground right there, they're all taking fuel. During an actual pit stop for tires, they will actually, you'll see the car lift up off the ground because you cannot see the pit crew come out unless you're actually like the driver of that car in the scene or whatever. So it's very tricky when you're not down there. So I'm curious to see where this goes. So pitting at 18 to top off the fuel. 18 would get you 33. That's actually 15 laps of 43. 43 and 25 gets you to... It's still a 2-stop race. I don't know. Clark, that doesn't work here. It's the wrong league. As they come to the green. Casey Carrington at 37 car leading to 38 of Bryson. A little spinning of the tires from Gibson back there. Whitaker going to try to get advantage on the top. The good news about these Gen 4/ARCA cars, if you will, is that they are very durable. You can beat the living smack out of these cars. I still tell the story to this day. I won a race at the New Texas in a car and I actually flipped in the car earlier in that race. It came back and won after getting all the damage fixed. Very durable. Sean Lester having some blinking issues. Bails out of the way there so he doesn't cause any issues. Nice job on his part. But this is all the guys back here that topped off the tank, so we'll have to keep an eye and see what they do in this race. Whitaker catching the wall. There's you see Ty Young getting around there in that 28 car, 7th position there. Now, that first race in Auto Club, we saw 6 cautions, which when you look at the amount of drivers that may be new to the series, or you get a number like that mixed in with a group of people that are used to being around each other, a good number. It's not bad. Obviously, some people want better, but you keep it under 10 at a track like Auto Club, we'll take it. Carrington's got himself a new visitor behind him. Hello, Stephen Miles. Season 9 champion there behind him. Miles is one of the faster cars in practice. Ooh, Carrington had to get out of the gas there a little bit. Should allow Miles to come back up here a little bit. Slider? Eh, not really. He gave it to Miles there. He should get the run, though, back to the bottom. Nope, he did not. Gibson just, right now, a question from Baker. What happened to the 19? Right now, he's just in 8th. I don't know if he's had some issues or whatnot. We'll have to see the right side of his car, but he's fallen back to 8th here. Looks like he got passed by his teammate there, just according to my highlights that I have here, or records, I should say. I don't see any kind of, like, instant fallback or whatever, so I think he's just, unfortunately, just getting shuffled out with the restart there and having to work his way forward. Plus, you got to remember, too, this restart, a lot of people on older tires now. So, obviously, the car balance is going to shift to the free side with the fuel back in it, as Bryson dives it to the bottom here. Alfin got that damage fixed. That 21 looking pretty sporty again up there at the top side. Oh, in the wall back there is Gagnon. Very easy to do in this track. They've never fixed this issue. But from the time Kansas has come out on iRacing, the wall is like basically the paper that you put out that catches like bugs and mosquitoes and stuff if you don't have a lamp. Like that stickiness that they stick on. That's what the wall's like here. It'll just grab you and then you can't get off it. And then you turn left and there's somebody below you and you wreck them and then wreck yourself and it just gets bad. Flypaper. Wouldn't that be what it's called? So there's Gibson right there in the 19 car and the blinking Ryan Whitaker below him. Oh, hold on. Well, he's got that wheel at 1 o'clock? A lot of right fronted. As Whitaker throws a little kiss out to the wall. I have never been comfortable driving a car like this. I have to drive the car with the wheel straight up. I cannot drive a tilted wheel like that. I mean, obviously in a damaged race car, I have no choice. So obviously a lot of loose in this car right now, which is not too surprising. But as Harry Hyde once said, loose is fast and on the edge out of control. As Bryson, I think Carrington might have kissed the wall. Gagnon got the wall back there. That sun's starting to come out. Let's throw the weather up here real quickly and see how we're looking. Wherever I put it in my settings here. Oh, there it is. We are at 97 degrees track temp time-wise. Coming up on 4 o'clock. And that's sim time. So 4 o'clock Central on April 1st. So we have not hit daylight savings time yet, I believe. So probably getting dark in the next 15, 20 minutes. As up there in the wall, who's that back there? It's Alfin, who had just moved up to second. He scrapes the wall, and you saw how his car just stuck to it. There's a hornet's nest. Got a couple car dealerships, a food place, a type of candy, a paint. Oh, Lewis, look out! Lewis, look out! Yikes! Holy moly donut shop. All right, so we went back to the green at 17. We're at 32 now, so 15 laps into this run. So another 5 to 10 laps. Cars should be back on pit road. Again, this all is an experiment out of these guys. I mean, these cars are dancing. Oop, Towder. In the wall back there. And now add Carrington to the wall list. So we're starting to get the Kansas stripes going on out here. As Miles is pulled away to a 2.1 second lead. Back here, this is the fight right here. I mean, these guys. See Drew up there in that DuPont 92 car. And then Gibson right there holding on to the top 10. So, I mean, these cars just kind of struggling out here right now as the track temp's up. Sun's out for the most part. You're getting those guys that have maybe saved their tires pretty well during this stint. I'm pretty sure everybody will be on pit road and getting tires here as soon as possible. As Gibson, a little bit of a defensive maneuver on Cornwell. This is 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, all right here. I just heard somebody say, pass me high. That's usually a universal signal for I'm pitting here. Lewis, I don't think, got that message. Brandon Alfin coming to pit road. Here we go with pit stops. Ty Young, Gibson, Whitaker. And that was one thing that was stressed out during the pre-race chat and stuff, was make sure you call out your pits. And I'm not sure if that was actually Gibson who, or was, yeah, I'm not sure if that was Gibson calling out his pit stop or not. But I heard somebody say go low, go high here, which usually is, it's not a way to call out your pit stop, but it's a good way to not tell the people you're fighting against for like a position, I'm coming to pit road. Not that I've ever done it before. Alfin 14.9, he's off pit road. Here comes your leader, Miles, in. So this is 20, yeah, exactly 20 laps. So You see the pit times down there at the bottom, and the yellow will turn to a number. That's their pit stop time. 14.7 for Miles, 14.6 for Bryson, 15.3 for Gagnon as they all leave pit road. The white number you're seeing, that is their total pit time, their delta, as you might hear in some racing terminologies. Dylan on pit road. Carrington is in. Now we're to the guys who stayed out that came to pit road the extra lap there at 1 to go. Those guys have stayed out now. As you see, Carrington takes off. There's the 88 of Dylan leaving. As we're in the middle of pit stops here at lap number 40 of this race here. Telder, Cornwell, Eurykio, Lester, all those guys on pit road now. And that cycles Beaver up to pit road now. Melnick second. And looks like Miles, once everything cycles through, is going to be the first one off pit road here. All right, so Aaron Beaver's on pit road. Melnick coming to pit road here this time by, and that'll cycle everything back around to these guys right here. Stephen Miles back to the lead. Brandon Alphin will be second. Casey Carrington third. And as a matter of fact, Alex Bryson, they're all right here within about 2 seconds of each other. So obviously, let's do the math from here now. 38 to 42. And that was a roughly 21 lap period or so. From the green flag, 20 to 21 laps. So you're looking at this being a one-stop race to the rest of the way. But obviously, if a yellow comes out, that wild card really comes into play here. All right, let's jump up here to the battle for second as Casey Carrington under Brandon Alphin in that 21. Carrington to 37. Bottom side going to make the pass. And the one guy pretty much who has been able to separate the TI guys here at the front of this race, Brandon Alphin. But do not look back too much further because you got Josh Dillon. You've got Jacob Gibson and Ty Young starting to make their resurgence back here towards the front. Ty up to 6th, Jacob Gibson up to 7th, and Kyle Ether up to 8th. As a matter of fact, let's kind of run you through who's running where there on the track as we hit the 45 lap mark just past halfway. Miles leading. There he is in the 24 car. Brandon Alphin back to pit road. Hold on a second here. This is kind of similar to last week at Auto Club where he came to pit road early and kind of short pitted. He took tires on his last stop here. I would not be surprised if this is fuel only, because I don't think you'd want to waste one of his 2 sets of tires on only like a 10-lap run. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Fuel only here. Let's see how this plays out. Brandon's not afraid to go outside the box. All right, so as I was starting to do. And well, never mind, battle for the lead. As here comes Carrington. Miles trying to hold him tight here. But Carrington's going to clear with the old Pontiac to the front in that 37 car. So Carrington officially now the leader. Miles second. You wonder if Miles is preserving his tires for the maybe not taking tires at this pit stop. So we'll have to see how that goes. Here's Alex Bryson. Third position for him. And then Josh Dillon now up to the fourth position, having a great run in the 88 car. Ty Young now up to the fifth position in what is like an old school Lucas Oil paint scheme. I like it. I mean, all you gotta do is switch the colors to black and you got that old Bobby Gerhardt Arca paint scheme. Kyle Ethier in the Bud car running in the sixth position. Carl Edwards fan, by the way. And he's in the Dale Jr. paint. There's Josh Gagnon. Good run for him. Seventh position. David Stringle, the 7 car, the Little Caesars Mobile. And then back here, Gibson starting to fall back again as Whitaker goes by for 9th. As Telder's back on pit road. And more of the strategy, so we'll have to keep an eye on what's going on here. But Telder comes to pit road into 23. As we'll keep going through the field. Gibson in the 10th position now. He's got Chris Lewis there behind him. Is he, Tom, is you saying love what you're seeing from Young, his time is coming. Is he like a newer driver like on iRacing and stuff? Or is he just, you're saying in this league? As you see Daniel Drew there in the 11th position. Randy Cornwell in the 12th spot. Sean Lester, good comeback for him. He was 2 laps down early after starting on pit road and even had some blinking issues. He's 13th right now. There's Dominic. I want a top 15 somehow. He's been part of the reason for the 1 caution so far and is in 14th, technically. Devin Ramsey, 15th position for him. He's got Aaron Leavitt the Beaver there behind him in the 16th position. And Nick Uricchio's having the struggle bus come out here for him in the 17th position. And in cars that are a lap down right now, Steve Melnick in the 18th position. Of course, Brandon Alphin, who just came to pit road. Josh Gagnon, who just came to pit road. Matt Telder, who, again, just came to pit road. So these guys actually who all came in has taken fuel only. And I'm guessing they're going to separate this now into a one-stop race to get to the finish and use that last set of tires. Craig Martin, 22nd position for him. David Fite damaged in 23rd. Dallas Childers, unfortunately, is almost 3 laps down in this race in that 10 car. There you go, running through the field. The reason why I ask is because if this is Ty's first time like running in a league or something like that, and he's kind of newer to iRacing, then this, I mean, suits him perfect because this league is full of great drivers. It's full of drivers that have learned a lot and have come in raw, if you will. And unfortunately, there's still some raw drivers in here. But it's a good group of guys that like to have fun. And it's be a good way for him to get better and then, who knows, branch out in other leagues while racing here and show his talents. And of course, you got all the leagues that the Captain Esports Network broadcast throughout the week, from Sim 500 on Sundays and GLSR Wednesdays and All-American coming up Fridays in February. As David Fite with some issues in the 15 car. He has parked it to the inside wall here. He jumps to pit road and thankfully no caution. So I'm not sure if he had a black screen issue, which is where your screen pretty much goes black and you can't see anything, and he just got it off the track, or what happened there. Okay, Yeah, oh, absolutely. And this is a good league. This is a good league to learn racecraft. I know it's got the strategy in it where you got to pit a lot or a decent amount, and you got a shorter race, but at least you can sit back and learn how to get from the start of a race to the finish of a race, so that later on, while you're here or whatever, you get to another league that runs maybe a 150 to 200 lap race or whatever, and he can learn to extend that out. So not only that, but obviously the confidence of getting a good finish, because there's leagues out there that are very tough and been around a lot longer and that kind of thing. So not saying this one isn't. I mean, you're talking to a guy that only won one race here. So when I was racing in it. So and that's not saying a lot because I'm not that good. Here comes Miles to pit road. So here we go with the green flag pit stops again. This is at lap 58. So this is the first group of guys now that have not short pitted. Most of them are taking fuel only here because they are going to need to stop one more time with roughly 10 laps to go. Or you short pit during this stint and split the run in half, which is, I think, what the guys did who pitted the first time. So, and there's strategy everywhere. That's what makes this awesome. All right, so I heard Josh Dillon call out he's coming to pit road. You see Alphin go by. And that Ford quality crew back in its heyday with Todd Parrott, Robert Yates Racing. That was a powerhouse team right there. Not to mention, they were a pretty sneaky bunch too. If you ever go listen to Dale Jr.'s podcast with Todd Parrott and some of the stuff they did. Oh my. Chad Knaus level type stuff. Oh, who's that that clobbered the wall back there? Was that Eurykio? Kind of hard to separate them from the Treehouse Autosport team. But one thing I've noticed between them is the blue and white hood is a good separator between the two. Or I say the blue and white hood, the blue and white logo with the hood, and then blue and black on Eurykio's car. So Beaver, Cornwell, and Ramsey, they're left to pit as Ramsey and Cornwell are in now. And that is going to cycle back to Brandon Alphin, the leader of this race. With 25 laps to go. The pit calculators are going nuts right now. Let's see. I don't even know if I have this set up with the new timing and scoring system I've done here. Yeah, I don't. So I was going to show you guys pit strategy here, but I got to set that up still. I've got everything else set up with the new timing and scoring system I'm working with, but still with SDK, but I had somebody work it for me, and I've had to move things around, and yeah. So let's dissect this, shall we? Brandon Alphin pitted at lap 45. Aaron Beaver pitted at 41. So Beaver actually still has another lap or so. He'll be on pit road. Brandon Alphin, you should be seeing in about 5 laps to pit road. And then that'll cycle it back to Stephen Miles, who should be able to get to about 8 laps to go before he comes to pit road. Carrington, you're looking at about 5 laps to go in the race. Bryson should go 5 or 6, and then it's back to Melnick, who pitted at 41. So he's going to pit here any minute. So basically, out of the guys who short-filled, Brandon Alphin is pretty much your only one who you're going to see on pit road in the next couple of minutes. And the rest of them, your next one in line will actually be Telder at 49. He'll make it till about 6 laps from now. So, and that'll probably be tires. So what they're setting up to do, those guys who pitted early in that last run, is they're going to take their tires early and try to do an undercut and hope that they can get away far enough that those who pit later in the race will not get to them. As here comes Alphin right now. A little earlier than I thought for Alphen. But the window's there. He's pitting right as the window opens. Everybody understanding where I'm at with this? I'm just trying to get everybody clarified here. I have fun doing this, but sometimes, man, it's like I feel like I'm overthinking as I'm going through everybody and who's doing what and what strategies and stuff. All right, so it should be 4 tires and fuel. Yep, there's the left side lifting up. So 4 and fuel for Brandon Alphen. So have the freshest tires now of the bunch. So Carrington leads now. There he is. Bryson, or a mile second. Bryson, Dylan. Everybody's pretty spread out now for the most part. And what has happened to Gibson in the back here? 14th now for Gibson. He's just having a rough outing here. A lot of learning probably on his end. This strategy thing can be real different for people. And to be fair, Gibson is running with Ty on a team. Those two, until the recruiting races, had never been in a race at TI before. So unless you have experience or somebody around you with the experience of knowing sort of the strategy, it is very hard to figure out like the right way to run it. As Miles and Gandy now come to pit road. Telder's in now. Craig Martin. So we're getting a mixture of guys that pitted in the late run with guys who were who had short pitted. So we're starting to see kind of a mixed bag here. But this opens up somebody like Josh Dillon, David Stringle, Kyle Ether, Ty Young would be one to do this. Those guys here, stay out as long as you can. And see if that old yellow hanky gets waved. Because if so, you're going to steal this race. But if you're up front, obviously, we'll have to see what Carrington does. If he just runs his own strategy here, or if Gibson's coming to pit road now. Which he looked like he was pretty slow coming to pit road there, so I'm not sure if he was just taking it easy or what he was doing. Whitaker and Beaver, they're battling. As you see, Ty Young is now on pit road. Four tires and fuel probably here for the 28 also. Good job entering his stall. There you see the right side of the car lifting up off the ground. It'll drop back down. Car will go around, and the left sides will go up. Oh, no. Oh, 2 tires. Never mind. Pulling the old Richard Petty 1981 move here. Except a lot of people do 2 tires now anymore in the world. 1981 Daytona 500. The infamous 2-tire stop from Richard Petty. I like the strategy. His car is going to be very loose here. Hope he's aware of this. Oh yeah, he's got it. He'll be fine. I'm curious to see where that runs him in the end. As I look up there, timing and scoring wise, well, we'll have to wait for this all to cycle out. He would be somewhere right on the cusp of the top 10, it looks like, or so. I can't tell. Here comes Carrington to pit road. Josh Dillon, his teammate with him. 13 laps to go. Something I'm catching on to here. Aaron Beaver. Aaron Beaver back here as Carrington's in. I'm going to jump back here. Aaron Beaver pitted at lap 65. He has the fuel to go all the way. And here he is in front of Alphen. I mean, we have a shot here. This man might steal this race. He's only got 3.5 seconds on Brandon Alphen, but he has a legit shot. Oh, if he don't blink out. However, Casey Carrington is in front of Beaver now. So Carrington beat both those guys off pit road. And that was with a 2-tire stop himself. So, wow, great strategy calls here. 2 tires from Carrington, 2 tires from Josh Dillon. Dominic Russo with a 2-tire stop might steal a top 10. See the lights starting to come back on. At 9 laps to go. Stringle is that guy, by the way, that is waiting to see if a caution comes out here. Hit it at lap 59, so he can get to 79, which is about 3 laps away, if not 80. See, I'm looking over, Tom asked me earlier about Gibson, so I've been kind of watching now him and Ty to see if there's anything. Wow, who's that car on a hot rod? Is that Bryson? Got shot out of a missile there for a second. Just seeing if there's anything I can catch that they're doing, because like I feel bad for Jacob. Be all the way back in 19th now. Ty's all the way back in 13th. The only thing I can see here that hurt them a little bit is when they pitted, but it wasn't terrible. You know, strategy, it looks like some 2-tire guys are going to get them. That's just one of those things. Oh, well, hold on there. Yikes. Stringle turning it sideways, coming to pit road. It's just more of just continue to work and get at it. That's all you can do, practice. So that's going to hand the lead to Casey Carrington, who, of course, went to victory lane last week at the Auto Club Speedway, now looking to go to victory lane here in Kansas. And I'd have to look at the history books here at TI, but he might be the first driver in history to win the first two races, and it's very unintentional this happened, by the way, but might win the first 2 races in the league's history in 2 different numbers. He was supposed to have the 37 last week and accidentally was stuck in the 14 like he was the previous season. So, and now he's in his 37 number. Is coming to 5 to go. All right, Russo's on pit road, so he was obviously short on fuel. Aaron Beaver running second. And he is catching Carrington. It is 1.0, exactly 1 second now. Brandon Alphen runs third. He is trying to catch Beaver. I mean, I have no clue where Aaron came from with this strategy. He had to have saved fuel somewhere. Had a couple lap cars there, Gibson and Melnick. Between the leader and second place, the lead maintained there at 1 second that time by. Three to go as Melnick puts it in the wall. Oh, Beaver, hold on now. Don't do that. I know one thing's for sure is Casey absolutely hates it when I pick on him about the weather, because I will, like, if I see like a major event, of course Nashville, as you know, just had another big tornado go through it a couple weeks ago, and of course now you're seeing the ice and the snowstorm that's been going through that area here the last couple of days. So I haven't said a word to him purposely about, like, hey man, you guys doing okay there, family, everybody good? But now that I've said it here going into the stream, I'm sure he'll pick on me about it. So either way, Carrington going to see the white flag, final lap. Presented by whatever bank you represent. Everybody's scattering. Drusov's in the wall. Beaver's just trying to get to the finish line with Eurykio and stuff there, but Casey Carrington, 2 for 2 with a win at Kansas. Beaver P2. Alphin third, Miles and Bryson. Josh Dillon gets 6th. Ethier 7th. David Stringle 8th. Telder and Gagnon get top 10s. Ty Young was 11th, so that's a good run for him. All right, now you get to celebrate and come to Victory Lane and join us here. And I might have to check with Lewis, but there might be a weird stat here that you might have just broken unintentionally, becoming the first driver to win a TI's first 2 races with a different number.
Hey, I'll take it.
Man, I got to go back and look at the replay and see where Beaver came from. Because I'm like, wait, he's going to be... And now all of a sudden I'm like, wait, no, he's good on fuel. But man, what a race on your end, obviously. Maybe not the fastest car, but a top 3 car will take it. But just strategy worked out for you. That 2-tire stop, I think I've seen that before.
That was a no-tire stop there at the end. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, it's hard to see it.
Go. Yeah,
hard.
no, I mean, that was awesome. I mean, like I said to Aaron there at the end of the race, I mean, I can't tell you how many races I watched in this era of car where it was exactly like that. You've got a guy out front on older tires that's just kind of clicking him off, and somebody faster running him down at the end. I mean, I thought with about 10 to go there was no way I was gonna be able to hold him off, and he kind of got to me, and I don't know if he got into the wall or if it was just the tires equalizing or what, but thankfully I was able to hold him off there. And yeah, I mean, that was 2 different strategies. I mean, I don't know exactly what kind of strategy he was on. I know it was different to mine, but I figured from me, Miles, and Alphin, and you know, Dylan and Bryson, we were all kind of in the same box, and I feel like there was one right decision to make with the strategy, and thankfully the one that I made was the right decision. So, you know, all the talk about, you know, changing the fuel and the tire allotment and all that, getting rid of the strategy, but I mean, you just saw right there 2 completely opposite strategies there work out, and pretty much, you know, like a second between them there at the end of the race. So, I mean, like you said, I wasn't the fastest guy tonight. I mean, I think Miles was the fastest overall. That was pretty obvious there in that middle run, but you know, I made the right strategy call, and unfortunately the call he made wasn't. So, yeah, I mean, that was just a perfect race.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing, too, is you go to a track like Kansas where you get a lot of cars getting stuck in the wall, especially when the sun was out. I mean, everybody was slipping and sliding everywhere. And then obviously the track started getting darker, getting cooler. And you started to see the grip out of the cars and that kind of thing. By the way, you're going negative 65 miles an hour somehow. I don't know how that works on my telemetry, but I guess it's because you're going backwards. Anyways,
And Sean whining a little bit, as old DW would say.
Oh, Kurt Busch, right? His
Yeah.
unwinding lap. Yeah, obviously the grip and stuff, those levels were changing throughout this race, but we come out with a race with only one caution.
Yeah, that's one of those things too. I mean, if a caution came out there in the last 15, 20 laps, I would have been screwed. So once again, it just came really down to strategy. I mean, that was the only thing that separated me from, like I said, Bryson and Miles and Alphin, and even Dylan was there hanging with us. So it pretty much had to execute the perfect race and do my best Mark Whitley impression, and I guess I did that tonight.
You got a 3 in front of that 7, so a little different. But
Yeah.
I mean, it did remind. I made a reference to it back at the caution. It was the 9 car that wrecked over in turn 4, much like qualifying the day that Casey won the Xfinity race. Being a big Casey Kane fan, you are. Kind of circles it around there a little bit for you. So, but great job, and send some shout outs whoever you like to.
Yeah, shout out to Bryson for getting my number updated right before I joined the session, so I could have that stat of winning back-to-back races with
A different
you
number,
know,
right?
yeah, and finally getting a win with the right number and hopefully with the right paint scheme on.
You did have the Jeff Purvis.
Yep. Which I mean, David Green won at
Yeah,
this
that's
track
true,
in that
too.
exact car.
Yep.
So you won at Kansas, I think in 03 or 04. So
You got the other driver?
yeah. Let's see, who was it? It was Jeff Purvis, David Green, Casey Atwood, I think.
I thought he was in 27.
Yeah, maybe so. Kevin Grubb drove
There
it.
you go. Kevin
Mark
Grubb was the
Green
one
drove
was
it, I
thinking of.
think, or-
Oh, good
yeah.
call.
Yeah,
Good.
but one of my favorite paint schemes of all time. Glad to finally get a W with it. But shout out to Harpoon Design for painting it. And let's see, shout out to, was it Showtime Racing, my teammates, Daniel Giroux, Craig Martin, Josh Dillon, Stephen Melnick, the boss. Shout out to you and Lewis for running the league and making the wheels turn. And shout out to everybody watching the broadcast.
Wolf, isn't that like a chewing tobacco or something?
Yeah, Timberwolf.
Yeah, there you go. See how much I know.
You're going to get demonetized for tobacco advertising.
I think I got my grounds covered, so.
All right.
Is that even around anymore? How can you promote something that's not around?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it was like Swedish or something.
Nah, I don't know. Anyways, great job, man.
Thank you, bud.
You too. Casey Carrington, the winner tonight here at the Kansas Speedway. I called it Chicago. Kansas
Wish it
Speedway.
was Chicago.
Hey, same kind of track, basically. Just put a curve in the back. Great job on his part. As he'll go celebrate with Showtime Racing, getting the first 2 wins in the first 2 races. Brandon Alphin, unfortunately, having some microphone issues. So, obviously, shout outs to Marion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for sponsoring him and his 3rd place finish here this evening. But the guy that about pulled the upset here, and I'm going to have to pull up my timing and scoring here as we talk to this man, Aaron Beaver. I pulled it in the wrong channel. So let's get Beaver to the right channel. Sorry about that. I'm sure that was a conversation you didn't want to hear. But obviously, Aaron, great run on your part, man. Finishing in the 2nd position. I'm going back here because I'm like, okay, I don't remember Beaver being up here. And so what was this? Let me see here for a second what you did. That because it was like I look over at you as you're running 2nd, and I'm like, wait a minute, he put it at 65. He can make it to the finish, and but you did. Great job, man.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, it was. I mean, started 22nd, I think. So practically dead last.
Yeah.
But it was all fuel saving. I mean, I'll be honest, it was it was all fuel saving. So. I did it the whole first stint. We had that caution, which I really didn't want, but in the end here it worked out because I was able to go to where I needed to pit 2 more times and take tires those last 2 times. So it just fell and worked out great.
So I'm looking at your numbers here. You pitted at the caution at 14. You obviously went fuel only there. You went back green, and you're running 32-second laps the whole entire time. All the way down to your pit stop at 41, which was 25 laps. Then you come back out, and you're running a little bit quicker, 31-second laps, 31 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, all the way your pit stop at lap number 65. So you went, what, 23 laps there. All the way to your fastest lap there at lap 70, by the way. Let's see. And yeah, to the finish from there. Wow. That's tip of the cap to you, my man. That's great job. Who where that strategy was that one that you just did in your head, or obviously some apps helping you out or whatever? Because I mean, we all use apps pretty much these days. What put that all together for you?
Well, me and my teammate Nick talked about strategy beforehand, talking about having to double stint tires and when we were going to do it and everything. But then that all went out the window with the caution, really.
Right.
So then I just started. I somewhat knew how many laps I could run on a stint, plus or minus a few laps, to be honest, based on what the numbers you just told me. And so I kind of started working backwards from, 85, and it's like, okay, I need to make it to here, and, ended up doing it well, and didn't really have to save that last stint. So
Wow.
It worked out a lot better.
Well, great job, man. That kudos to you. I mean, I'm trying to think back if I did this in a race sometime in this league. I want to say, I can't remember. There's somewhere I remember doing a race like that at Auto Club, and I was like, it ended up working where I was good to the finish, but something happened, obviously, that kept it from happening. I'm like, man, Aaron just pulled that same move. But that's how you got to do it sometimes, is you put the race backwards in your head and be like, hey, if I can go this far on fuel, and this car is perfect for it because you can shut the engine off. There's not a lot of drag in it, so you can coast this car through a corner and keep the speed up for the most part. So, I mean, this is the car to do it with, man. So, yeah, fantastic job. Send some shout-outs whoever you want to.
Yep, I want to thank Socrates for letting me drive their car and stuff and everything, and being a sponsor. And yeah, I couldn't be TI for supporting this league and putting it on every week. So yeah, it's been really great, and yeah, I had a lot of fun tonight.
All right, so I'm going to do everything I can to protect Aaron from having to get pulled into tech to check his fuel cell. So great job tonight finishing second, and man, way to go. And I know it's going to be a big points boost here for you.
Yep. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hey, yes, sir, buddy. Good job, man. Aaron Beaver, second place finish, about pulled the upset on the field with that Socrates Racing team. And yeah, let me pull these numbers up again. He pits at lap 12. He pits at lap 12, or I'm sorry, at 15 for the caution. He then goes literally 23 laps, 24 laps. Pits at 41. Pits again down here at lap 74-ish. I'm sorry, 65. And then from there is able to go 20 to the finish. I mean, wow, great call on his part. So, congratulations to him. Let's take a look at the finishing order for this race. You know what it was? I just thought about it. It was the race that I think I filled in for Lewis a season or two ago when he had work issues or something. I remember doing a similar strategy to that and about won the race, if I remember correctly. And it was in the truck or something, or the ARCA car or something. But everybody was like, what in the world? And yeah, of course I didn't win it. But Carrington wins it by 1.5 over Beaver. Brandon Alphin third, Stephen Miles fourth, Alex Bryson fifth, Josh Dillon, Kyle Ethier, David Stringle finishing eighth with Telder ninth and Josh Gagnon 10th. Ty Young ends up 11th, Craig Martin 12th, Chris Lewis 13th, Randy Cornwell 14th, Ryan Whitaker 15th, Eurykio 16th, Jacob Gibson in the 17th position. And the rest of your field, that's the wrong button, Scala. Goes Daniel Giroux, Steve Melnick, Devin Ramsey, Sean Lester, Dominic Russo, Dallas Childers, David Fite, unfortunately 24th and final position there. So that'll be one to talk about next week during that episode 3 of the podcast. Have to review all of that. That was a fantastic job on Aaron's part. Everybody did a great job. I'm curious to see what people say. It was an experiment tonight, and they wanted long green flag runs. They wanted the fuel strategy. They wanted tires, they wanted long runs and that kind of thing. We took the set of tires away, added fuel to the car, and you see what it turned into. Not everybody even used their full 2 sets. A set and a half to get to the finish of the race. So, we'll have to see. Where are we next week? I should know this because I put the schedule together. Next week. Teller done screwed everything up here. Oh, there it is. Nashville Super Speedway. Oh, Casey might go 3 for 3 for 85 laps again on that 1.33 mile concrete canyon track. Should be a lot of fun there at Nashville. We'll look forward to going there coming up here next week. So let's head out. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night. We'll be back tomorrow night for GLSR from Gateway in St. Louis. Meet me in St. Louis, as the movie once said. It's actually the title of that movie, too, at the same time. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening. And this is just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain A Sports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.